this era of disruption, digital is a reality of our life. You got to read more.
The telehealth services, so for the patients to be connected to doctors, Owen Kementerian Kesihatan, for the doctors to then consult and offer a referral for the patient to perform a test if required.
So if you had that level of trust already with your team members, then it's easier for you to say, okay, now that I can't see you on a daily basis, how do we then operate?
These are actual challenges of adopting cloud. It's not about the trust anymore. It's about our infrastructure, our connectivity. Are they stable and fast enough to support the business and also the consumers to continue to adopt more cloud services?
Talented individuals with in-demand skill in any sector now realize that they can live, they choose, and work where they're qualified. And talent is the new global currency.
Hoolah. What is Hoolah? Hoolah is a new payment partner that can help you reach new customers, drive more conversion, increase basket size, and improve customer loyalty both online and in store. Your customers can now shop more confidently by making purchases in 3 easy installments, which are totally interest-free. She is thinking about buying this handbag, which can be an expensive one-off purchase. But with Hoolah, she only needs to pay 1/3 of the order amount up front and take with Hoolah? Contact us now.
Hi, good evening, and welcome to Back to Top in Tech, episode 14, where we're talking about e-commerce and driving growth with digital. In episode 10, we've talked about the growth of e-commerce in Malaysia and in Asia, especially the rapid adoption of technology caused by the pandemic. Malaysia has reported a 25% growth in e-commerce in 2020. Digital innovation is key to capturing some of this growth. In this episode, Karamjit Singh of the Digital News Asia will continue to deep dive with the panelists to gain some perspective on the attractive partnerships that are available to drive marketing and to build a competitive advantage to accelerate your business. So it's going to be a great session. A big thank you. This is done in collaboration with hoolah and sponsored by ShopBack. So a big thanks to our sponsors and as well as our partners, Malaysia Kini Events, Digital News Asia, Internet Alliance, and Scale Up Malaysia. Over to you, Karamjit.
Very good. Thank you very much, Prem. So you're right. I think within a short period of time, we're actually having another e-commerce team top in tech. And really that just shows it's a reflection of how popular this topic is, right? And not even how popular, how critical e-commerce as a component of your business strategy is, okay? So it's no more nice to have, it's no more sexy to have. And it's great that we've got 3 different parties coming together for today's session, which is the topic is very important, right? Driving growth. And really that's what everybody wants. We've got one player who's in the logistics part, and which is, logistics is not the sexy part of e-commerce, but absolutely the logistics experience will determine whether you had a good experience with that e-commerce site you click the buy button from, because they are doing all the nitty-gritty hard work behind to make sure you get your product when you're supposed to get it. And then we've obviously got hoolah also, and this is actually one of the hot trends in e-commerce now, which is buy now, pay later. And I don't know whether the hoolah spokesperson now, Jason, is actually going to talk about maybe they're going to introduce buy now, pay much later, thanks to MCO 3.0, and with the added pain is causing everyone. Of course, I'm just kidding, Jason. Okay, I don't have to sweat there in the background. And then we've also got Eddy from ShopBack, and this is kind of interesting where they incentivize you and make it worthwhile for you, even more so, to get something on e-commerce. And actually, speaking of Eddy, we're going to kick off with Eddy. Actually, all the three panelists are going to actually have the first 3 minutes to just share what they're doing and why it's important. And then we're going to go on to one question that I'm going to ask all the panelists, which is standard what we do. And then all the panelists are going to take individual questions that some of you have already sent in. So many questions. Thank you so much. And of course, those of you who are joining in live, you can share questions spontaneously and we'll do our very best to answer those. So let's get Eddy on from ShopBack.
Thanks, Karam. Just let me share my screen. Okay, so a bit about ShopBack. We started our business in 2014, as a cashback bandwagon, and then we're very quickly to scale to become the leading rewards and discovery platform. So we introduced a lot of new features and innovation because we want to, of course, be a bit more deliberate with. We want to become the pre-shopping portal in Asia Pacific. So our aspiration has forced us, or at least encouraged us, to introduce a lot of innovation into the market. So for our users, what does it mean? So pre-shopping portal means before any users were to do any shopping or thinking about doing anything online, be it booking a room for staycation, maybe now for quarantine period, ordering food, or just regular shopping, I think they will start their journey with ShopBack. For our merchants, we want to help them to enable e-commerce, meaning that if, let's say, they want to start their journey to open up their own brands.com or their start selling something online, we want to be there to help them achieve most with the least amount of cost. Now, in Malaysia, we work with more than 500 merchants, local and international, and we serve more than 4 million shoppers to do that. Yeah. As of early of this year, we have already given out more than 80 million ringgit worth of cashback.
Seriously, 80 million ringgit? 80 million. Wow. Just in
That's
4 months, huh?
No, so since 2015, it's for 6 years already.
Oh, okay. Wow, I was like, wow, that's huge amount in the last 4 months. I better start shopping more online when I'm behind the curve. Okay. Okay.
So now we are in 9 markets. Korea is the latest market that we have launched our ShopBack business. Okay. So how it works, right? Users will discover a merchant through ShopBack, and then when you click through ShopBack and make a purchase, after a successful purchase, the merchant will give us a certain form of commission, and then with that commission, a large bulk of it will give you back as cashback, and then balance will keep it as our operational cost. So the mechanics is not something that is different. I think the ShopBack model is already available in a lot of countries like China and US. So it's not something foreign. It's just that in Malaysia, it's still something new. I think it's very happy to share more about ShopBack.
Yeah. No. Actually, it's kind of interesting because both my kids, unfortunately, are also doing e-commerce shopping, and I because maybe they are young, below 18. I don't see them going to ShopBack yet. And just a quick question before the others come in. Are your shoppers, do you find the age category is starting from a certain age, or you got kids as young as like 17 or 15 also, coming to your site? Which means then my kids are behind the curve, and I got to introduce them to ShopBack right after the show.
To be honest, right, before the pandemic, the shoppers are a bit older. You talk about like the 35 to 45 years of each of range. But after pandemic happened, right, surprisingly, right now, the majority, at least more than 50% of our customers or users, right, are between 18 to 25 years old. So we see like the shoppers demographic has dropped significantly, and there are a bulk of emerging affluent customers that we can acquire.
18 to 25 okay lah. So my kids are not in that category yet, but I'm definitely gonna get them onto this platform and start with ShopBack before they click to buy anything. All right, great, thanks a lot, Eddy. We're now gonna invite the only the rose among the thorns, okay, onto the screen now, and to share. Do you have anything else, Eddy? No, right?
No, thank you so much.
All right. So, okay, don't worry. Eddy is not Jane, okay? I know you suddenly see who's this person with the goatee being the rose. No, let's get Jane on, and she'll talk about, the important role that Lalamove plays in the ecosystem.
Thank you, Karam. Hi, good evening, everyone. So I'm Jane, representing LaLa from Malaysia. I think pandemic was a really wake-up call for everyone, especially the traditional retail business. So over the past year, we've been focusing a lot on supporting the micro business, SMEs, all the way to your big boys. Okay. And in line, we have 20K active drivers. Also, we have seven vehicle types, so from 2-wheel all the way to your 3-ton vehicles, supporting all sorts of business, over 10K of business on a monthly basis. So yeah, we are here to aid the micro SMEs as well as the any retail business that want to go digitalize and however can't figure out the logistics part of things, or they figure that the cost to actually start your own fleet and the headache that comes with it, like Karam said, is not very sexy. But we are here to support as we are using the pay-per-use system. In terms of pricing transparency, we are definitely there. You will be able to see the full price as once you place your order on our app. We also have API integration to help you scale your business without incurring more costs. Which I think is very, very important, as right now everyone is very more cost sensitive. The economy is not getting any better, and with this full lockdown, a lot of industries are impacted. And we are here definitely to support all sorts of business from micro to all the way to large businesses.
Good, man. I think if you're a business, anytime you hear a company saying we're here to support you, that's music to the ears, right? And people should check out, what the manner of support is from, at least from Lalamove. So, okay. Do you have is there a video that's going to be playing, or shall I move on to, there is, right?
Yes, there's a video that will be playing. As well as a poll that we will be getting some audience answers for the poll.
Nice, cool. Okay. So we're waiting for the video now, right? If I'm not wrong. Okay, cool. Partner for your business. And I wanted to answer the poll also, but we can't answer, too bad. Because I'm also a customer. Okay, cool. All right, so good. What we'll do is now we're going to get our third panelist on to share his thoughts first, right? So let's get Jason on here.
Hello, Karam.
Hey, bro.
How's it going? Thanks for putting me on the spot by now and pay much later. Huh?
Yeah, man. That's what I just came spontaneously, man. I mean, is that innovation or what? Innovation on the spot, man.
There you go. It's actually about spending responsibly. Do you need it now, right? We're going to give you that 3 months installment, but do you really need it, right? So think about it before you make that payment. But thanks so much, Karam, and glad to be here with all the panelists. Let me just quickly share.
Yep.
Screen. It's showing, right?
Not yet. At least on mine, it's still showing. They say you've started sharing screen, but I just see a darkness.
Minute.
Okay, not yet.
Is it up?
Are you able to see your screen?
Yeah, it's not up. That's fine, right? I think let's just do without the video.
Okay,
like what Karam said,
video.
put me on the spot, but without the video. So I'm Jason. I'm the general manager for hoolah in Malaysia. We are a buy now pay later platform, and we are the Asia's leading first mover here in this region. So really happy to be here. We're currently in Singapore, Malaysia, and Hong Kong, really growing the business into other countries around SEA region like Thailand, Philippines. So stay tuned, right? I think these are the hot markets that definitely we want to be in. So we, up to date, Malaysia has really seen very impressive numbers of growth that we have. We are over 1,000 merchant brands we have now in store and online. So that's both, omni-channel. from the likes of Fashion Ballet to Bata that we just had. We are now with Alexan. We also have Crocs with us. So a mixture of global and local brands that we actually cater to, right? And more importantly, I think to the local consumers, we're here to provide a solution during these crunch times. Again, like what Karamjit saying, it's not about do you want to be able to pay it later, but more so how do you manage your finances, right? Using this tool that we are providing through our merchants, and in what way, and how do you spend responsibly? Yeah. So apologies that I couldn't share that slides that I wanted to, but happy to take any things from you, Karam, if you have.
Yeah. No worries. We're going to watch your video now also, right?
Yeah, sure. Over to Kinney.
Yep. Yeah, they've got the video. Okay, let's get the video running so the viewers can at least understand a bit more about what you all are doing. And then after that, we'll get all three panelists onto the screen.
I think the video has been shown, if I'm not mistaken. That's the one.
Is it? Oh, at the beginning also, yeah. At the kickoff. So, okay, good. All right, then let's get all the other two panelists onto the video also.
Yeah.
And then
thanks for that, Karam. And there's also a poll for hoolah, right?
Yeah. Do you have the poll ready to run yet?
Yep. Please
okay.
Go ahead. There you go. I feel the same, Karam. I can't click.
I can see. Yeah, I know. I wanted to because that means we're obviously users of this also, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But at least the audience can.
I really wanted to click for Jane's, but I'll ping her separately.
Yes, please do.
Okay, so this is the poll. So all of you, once you answer, the poll will disappear. But in the meantime, now let's get started with the first question, which is really at the crux of this topic, right? How does digital drive e-commerce growth? So each of you is going to take it from your perspective. So again, we'll start with Eddy first. Eddy, if you're going to take this question.
Okay, so I think the question is how you're driving e-commerce growth is very broad. What are the key ingredients, right? I think the answer that I will give, right, will probably be very different before the pandemic, after the pandemic.
Okay.
Before pandemic, I think I will probably say, try everything. Don't be afraid to fail. I think you can just try out anything that is free. Just go ahead and do it. But right now, after the pandemic happened, I think everyone is suffering from crunch. I think it's very important for us to really be deliberate with what we want to achieve. Really in detail and be very, very specific. Go into it with best effort and try not to fail. The key ingredient is to really be specific. Why? Because the e-commerce funnel is no longer, attract user, get them to click, buy, and then, get delivered. Right now, it's the e-commerce funnel, the top funnel is actually much more complicated and much more, much more complicated in terms of from one input to as an output to output as an input to another output. In the whole process itself, there's multiple checkpoints that needs to be focused on. So, but whichever lever to push, I think in every checkpoint, in order to the goal here is to drive a bigger funnel with the highest conversion rate. So I think with digital, I think it's very important for everyone to understand what role in terms of channel that each point is playing, and then make sure that everything is done with greater success.
Yeah. And I think if companies are struggling with that, then of course there are experts out there, service providers, right, who can help also. And I think you would have noticed, Eddy, I think the news that came out yesterday, there was a big acquisition/merger, right, with ADA, acquiring this e-commerce company called Emerge Asia or something, right? So now ADA has become the end-to-end e-commerce provider, and I thought that was a very significant move. That sometimes you see some things happen, you read some news items, and you say, "Wow, this is going to change the game." It's a big move by ADA. So I don't know at some point whether it'll come up in a discussion. Any of you want to comment on that? But all right, thank you for your comments there. So Jane, would you like to take this question about?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the key ingredients to really understand, you need to really understand your audience, right? And also for your product, find the right product market fit. If there's no need for people to use your service, then it will be very challenging for you to grow. And also you need to for small businesses, choosing a trustable, reliable logistics partner. From that perspective, I think we have multiple corporate clients that try different service before committing to one, which is a very good practice. I honestly think so, because you need to know what's out there for your market, and your consumer behavior might be different from my consumer behavior. So are we able to align in terms of the operation sides and also supporting your business? So I think the key ingredient is first to find your product market fit, and also to understand like who are your audience and their purchasing behavior.
Okay, interesting. Because I think with also Jane, just on you quickly, with a lot of e-commerce sites, they have already picked their logistics partner. So they give you a combination, a choice of 2 or 3 players, right? And I notice sometimes they've changed, they swap one out, swap one in. So that's why you're talking about even the main platforms who are the biggest users, right? Have the biggest need for logistics to ensure a great customer experience. They also are doing this pick and choose, right? They try somebody for a 6-month, 3-month period. They don't, it doesn't measure up to the service level agreement. They swap somebody out and they bring someone else in, right?
Yes, that's right. Especially the trickier ones will be food delivery. You need the food to be delivered within 2 hours, otherwise it will go bad. So especially living in a tropical country, we deal with like rain issue. So ensuring that you have multiple 3PLs to support your platform is very, very important.
But when we're talking like that, I worry that we naturally gravitate to, and we think of companies that are larger, medium size or larger. Earlier, you specified a lot on micro enterprise, and I love that because the need is the most pressing there, right? So if a micro enterprise is listening here, how is he or she thinking about, is this a platform for me to use, or I tell everyone just use Grab or GoJet and get someone to sort it out yourself. I want nothing to do with that portion of it.
That's why we have API integration. We don't just partner. API integration is not open to companies of a certain scale. We do support the micro ones because just imagine if someone lost their job, they decided to become a home baker. Their business may pick up. Especially during the festive season, like Raya cookies was really a thing. Mother's Day as well, and we are here definitely to be in line with them, to support them, especially during the high demand. It doesn't make sense for them to just pick one partner, but when you actually face all this festive season, when a peak demand, you are not able to support. That's the challenge, I feel.
Yeah. Okay. So just a quick question to you. When we peak demand with anything, right? Demand supply. Peak demand, you feel like pricing goes up. So does your pricing become more expensive for micro enterprises when there's peak demand because everybody wants your services at the same time? Or within your algorithm, if it's a micro enterprise, because they register first, you cap it at a certain level because their abilities to charge and their profit margins are very different, right?
So in terms of pricing, right? Just now we touched about transparent pricing. So as you place your order, you are already able to know how much exactly are you paying. There's no hidden fee. Even setting up a corporate account with us, we do not charge additional fee. Even it gives some work on our end to set up the API for you.
Yes.
So I think this small feature, small gesture is very, very helpful for micro SMEs because they don't have a tech team sitting behind them.
Totally.
Right. So and it really is their operation side. Imagine if you have 100 orders, you can't be placing order on phone 100 times, right? It's a nightmare, and you won't be able to scale. By the time you key in your orders, your cake's probably melted already. So we have so using tech to reduce the steps to place your order will definitely help you scale your business.
Okay. So I very quickly, when you say micro enterprise, I'm beginning to learn that for them, when you say tech support, is actually their teenage children or their nephews. Okay, so teenagers are like becoming very valuable to the family members. That's amazing. Even my tech support is my 14-year-old. Anyway, enough about that. Jason, where is your video, bro? So.
Yeah, it's okay, right?
Jason
Slides are not working, videos are not working. That's fine.
No,
but more importantly,
but actually, audio is most important. We can hear you, so no problem. So do take the question again that I asked for all 3 panelists, right? And share your perspective on this.
Definitely. I think in terms of all three made sense, right? And I think what resonated most, Karam, was the end-to-end, right? Because it's when you hit the e-commerce, right, in terms of the ingredients, it's really the customer experience, like what Jane mentioned, but it's also for a merchant's perspective, what the information and data flow that you see to, in terms of after that, the money flowing to the logistic, in terms of delivery or whether it's a service supply chain, right? So streamlining and having an automated, integrated, seamless process through, that's definitely going to accelerate you, not just putting a website there and hoping that it will sell by itself, right? Because at the end, you really want to provide a frictionless experience to the end user, right?
Yep.
And that's something that hoolah provides from the beginning, right? The call to action towards you checking out as well, where we provide a full seamless integration. It helps with all the breaking down the necessity of what do I do? Do I pay with this? Do I pay with that? Do I think more? But I think the whole flow is definitely important from a end-to-end perspective. So definitely nailed it on the ADA part, right? So that's where I resonate with most.
Yeah. I mean, but also I worry that the big are becoming even bigger, and you end up losing choice then. So, but it seems naturally how this is gravitating towards also.
Oh yeah, definitely. But then there'll always be emerging ones that come up, right? So, and that gives the opportunity for the smaller ones or the up and rising, right, to actually take and say that this is what we can do better. So never ever give up, whether you're micro or SMEs.
Sorry, true. Exactly. That's the ethos of all entrepreneurs, right? Never ever give up. So, okay, great.
Definitely.
With that, now we'll just go to specific questions that, and I already see some questions coming in. And by the way, for all of you putting in your questions, the panelists are also looking at your questions. And if they find something interesting, they will answer that also aside from the question I'm about to ask them, because some of you obviously have asked questions beforehand already. So, Eddy, I'm just going to ask you the first question, which is which you want to take is that, look, how do we ensure the growth from digital sales is not going to be cannibalizing your existing sales, which I find kind of interesting that you haven't heard of the word cannibalization in the question for a long time. So I love this question. I love that you wanted to take this also. So share your perspective on this, bro.
Yeah, I think in terms of making sure that there are no cannibalization, I think there is no foolproof way. I think let's just get it out. There's no way, for sure. But I think thinking about whether it cannibalizes you or not, right, is actually probably something that you want to think before the pandemic. I think right now, as we try to become more detailed with what we want to achieve, I think even the metrics of success, right, for e-commerce, right, needs to be more than just thinking about cannibalization. Some of the more successful e-commerce companies that we work with actually have a different metrics right now. So some of the top 3 metrics that they look at is new customers that what style of new customers that the channel can bring, how can they cross the users new customers that come into the merchant site, how they can cross the user to a higher margin category, and then how to make sure that they are repeating their orders. So of course, some of it, to be honest, right, a lot of times, a lot of companies, right, they just think about sales. And to be honest, right, sales is just a result. What's important is understanding what are the key actions to drive the proper metrics that eventually end up in the sales itself,
resulting in sales.
Yeah, when I was in, I think Sarawak in 2019, there was a question about this as well. They say, I have a retail shop. If let's say I were to purchase online, if I came out online, then people will order online, then I have to subsidize because the pricing is very open, and then that cannibalizes. For some of the businesses that are very hyper local, I think very hard to manage. But think about the opportunities outside your geography, outside your location, and I think e-commerce can provide that. Think about if let's say you were to do this well, what sort of users that you can attract from which where you want to service them. I think with services like from a payment service like from hoolah, and also logistics like a company like Lalamove, the facilities that the infrastructure to enable e-commerce gets much more easier and much more cheaper, and then I think in that way the business will eventually scale better. Just make sure that every digital channel serves the metrics that you are measuring.
And can I just add on? Sorry, Karam.
Can
I just add on?
Jump
that was great, Eddy. Just like opening up into a new segment, and that's what we actually saw in Malaysia, hoolah, where it was a debit card, a younger segment, right, 18 to 25, where people didn't have the opportunity of credit card installments. They couldn't do it. So it's it sounds like it's music to my ear, what Eddy mentioned, like really taking that risk or going towards an opportunity where you don't know what lies ahead, right? And it could be golden for you. So definitely something that resonates with me a lot.
No, but I think the premise of the question also, I think nobody who's going into e-commerce should be worried about cannibalization, because the key value proposition of e-commerce anywhere in the world is that it opens up the world, right? The global market to you. And of course, if you think that's an exaggeration, at least the local market in your own state, maybe, right? So a lot more people will be aware of your product. So it just opens up a market beyond the footfall of your physical outlet. So that's the mindset you must take. It gives me an opportunity to open up, right, to attract more customers. End of the day, that is the value add of e-commerce. It's not virtual reality or augmented reality, that it helps you reach a bigger audience. So now, all right, so great. Thanks a lot, Eddy, for taking that. And then I'll go to Jane now. And Jane, there was a question that you wanted to take, was that someone's asking, how can we help retail small players, right, to grow with e-commerce business? So it's quite a broad question, but I'm interested to see how you found it is interesting, and how do you want to answer this?
Yeah, I think right now a lot of the challenge is, especially when lockdown is announced, it's not that we have a heads up of 1 week to prep our business to go digital. Okay. And a lot of people are coming to us for last minute API integration, because it was last minute, right? And it's not something that a lot of people predicted, especially the pandemic. So I think some challenges that they are facing is so the hassle of setting up their own fleet at such a short time, and to find, and also to explore. Like just now I mentioned that you should try different delivery partners for your own experience before committing that, okay, my business should use this delivery partner. So I think even the testing out phase, you need to give some time, because I think as a platform, supply may vary from one platform to another. I think I also saw a question in the audience saying that was it difficult for us during the Ramadan time to find drivers? For sure, right? I think 80% of our drivers are Muslim. We are in a Muslim country, and like they do have to break fast. So we do try to encourage our customers, similar to what Grab did. They encourage their customer to place their order earlier, especially Ramadan month. We also face a lot of rain. So in order for them to have the full experience, we can prep our users, right? To tell them, to alert them to place your order earlier, to avoid any disappointment or any weather issue, and also give our because I think like delivery partners, they are also human, and we need to put that human aspect to it, especially in the logistics business. Without our delivery partners, right, it's not possible for us to scale.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we need to take care of them. Yeah.
So with your just a question, right? So if a micro enterprise comes and tries one delivery platform, and they're not happy with the service, is it easy for them to swap out somebody else? Because sometimes you worry about, they say you're locked in, right? Because it's a hassle, and you just stay with the person, and maybe you just shout over the phone to the customer, the other side, right? Customer support, and say, hey, do a better job. Or is it really easy for a micro SME, right, to swap out a delivery partner?
Yeah, so a lot of logistics companies are trying to push to make you sign a better deal. Sign a long-term deal, right? Correct. And then in return, they'll give you a cheaper price. However, a lot of people don't do their research or don't really test out the platform, and just by stating, that's why we have the poll, right? Are you more price sensitive, or are you a person that just wants the best quality in terms of driver experience, right? Dealing with the drivers, are you able to provide that? So we on Lalamove, we do not actually we do not force any of our corporate clients to sign a contract, because we believe that when your service is good, when your product is good, they will come to you and they will continue to use you. Some of them actually try other platforms and then came back to us and say, like, we just wish that this won't happen on your platform. And I think in the long run, you'll build trust with your corporate clients, and they will trust you. By, like, when they scale the business, they will actually work with us and say that, oh, we are ready to roll out a certain feature. On the operation side, we would also advise some food aggregator or cloud kitchen, for example, right? They want to just rely on one 3PL to deliver their food. Even so, we do advise them to try out other delivery partners. To support, to make sure that all the orders are fulfilled. I think that's very important for their perspective.
Fantastic, man. For a business owner to think on behalf of the customer, say maybe you should use somebody else also and compare. Well done, very good, Lalamove. Very good.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Because I really believe that once your product is strong, you have trust. Your brand awareness, like cannibalizing, right? I agree with you, Karam. There's you online and offline won't cannibalize. At the end of the day, it's still generating income, profit to your organization. In fact, you are able to target people of different shopping behavior.
True. Okay, cool. So let's move on to a question for Jason, which is Jason. I find this kind of interesting. You want to answer this, right? Someone has asked about whether doubling their ad spend will also mean that they will see double or close to double in sales. And you wanted to take this. So what's your perspective here?
Yeah, definitely. I think in the ideal world, right, if you were probably pre-COVID time, that is definitely something that you'll say, yeah, it definitely makes sense, right? I put in 50, I expect to get back, let's say 500. That's like a 10x kind of ideation or thinking behind it. But during these challenges, when you think about it, it is actually very difficult because imagine if you're doubling it, you will see that probably everyone in the market is also probably doing the same, where they will have this idea of, hey, I'm going to double my ads, right? So maybe I'll get double in sales as well, right? And actually, you're actually not targeting the right crowd. You're actually not going towards the segments that you want to, right? It's actually mass in that way. And it's hard when you are spreading the seeds, but you're not getting the right returns at the end of the day. So for me, how I see it really is really to partner with a marketing platform, the likes of hoolah or ShopBack or Lalamove in that sense, to see what are the other avenues where you can actually reach out to more people, right? And to get your brand out there and hitting the right segments that you want to target, right? So like what we do, what we mainly do actually is really to help in terms of conversion, increasing basket size, driving traffic to our merchants. And that's something that we have seen really, really strongly in the years that we've been here in this region, where the store directory actually acts like a real traffic diversion for all our merchants, right? Smaller merchants actually see this as a huge value. Imagine someone coming on to see Fashion Ballet or, the Bata or Alexan or even Nike, JD Sports. And then they realize that they have also affiliation with hoolah in the ecosystem. That actually brings them, whoa, I'm actually part of, this huge array of merchants which I can leverage on, right? So these are things in terms of knowing who to partner with, where do you spend your money, and what makes the best out of it, right? During this a noisy period where everybody wants to really spend and get the most of it. So
Okay. No, actually, just quickly while I have you, I want to ask you there's an interesting question for hoolah and from Mohan Menon, right? About whether your service can be extended to B2B type of business. And I sense behind this question is just a business trying to stretch their cash flow, right? This is kind of interesting. So do you want to take that, Jason?
Sure. Yeah, I saw that, and it's definitely interesting. As much as I love to be able to, provide this service in a B2B segment, but we are really a B2C platform where we cater to help our merchants that goes towards our consumers. Yeah. So apologies for that, but definitely something that we want to look in, right? Because I understand during crunch times, any means is a great way to actually help out in terms of the financial cash flows for businesses.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a very good question to ask, but maybe you, Jason, you got to try to get SoftBank to give you all $1 billion US. Then you can extend this new business line, right?
Hope SoftBank is listening.
Yeah. Don't worry. The way you're growing Malaysia now, you better help them, lah. Okay, headquarters with
definitely.
This. Okay, so look, dude, there was a question about from Erwin Ramos, and I just want to take this. Because obviously e-commerce is growing exponentially, right? So how do you all actually remain agile in terms of building your infrastructure, I guess, to support the needs, right, of your clients now? So is it just cloud using apps and such? So I leave this to whoever wants to answer this, because all three of you can answer it, but maybe if one of you really wants to answer it, then we can move on to some other questions.
I think I will start lah.
Okay.
So I'm not like really a technical person. If let's say we'll talk about operational efficiency. Not very sure whether cloud or anything else. I mean, we back end, I think something has been done. But I think one thing to note is generally, right, when the pandemic happened, right, there was the way people operate, right, also shifted quite a bit. Previously, the hustlers would be the one that if you do more, you get more. I think that is the mentality. Yeah, as long as you are hardworking, I think you do more, you get more. But right now, after the pandemic, right, if you keep on doing such thing, right, and you don't get the results that you want, you will burn out very, very fast. So to remain agile, particularly for ShopBack, right, we've been very, very focused on understanding what moves the needle and then be laser focused towards it. I guess for any companies out there, even e-commerce, right, if you keep on jackhammering the industry, I tell you, eventually you lose your stamina and then you'll just crash. But being very specific and understand what you need to do, and then if cloud works for you, then go ahead. If let's say hiring more manpower is something for you to scale, I think that is the only way to go. Varies from different industry.
Okay, I think there was an interesting question about somebody asking about whether there's a poll, right, from ShopBack also. Okay. Oh, very straightforward. Okay, man. Again, I wish I could answer this, but never mind.
Exactly. I wish I could.
I was supposed to share the poll, but I forgot about it. I guess
no problem. We're keeping this spontaneous, just like we're on stage, right? We're being spontaneous here. So there's actually a question from Anonymous, but about whether they think buy now, pay later is sustainable. And I would answer it on your behalf, Jason. The fact that you guys are growing gangbusters and so well, that seems to answer that the business does seem sustainable. But of course, sustainable means over the next 5 years or whatever. So do you think even 3 years from now, because in the internet world, 5 years is too long, right? 3 years like 1,000 days. Where do you see the BNPL business going on? Do you think your most traditional merchants will be forced to adopt this because this becomes a new normal for how we shop? I'm kind of intrigued about that.
Sure, definitely. And I think it's definitely sustainable, right? And I hit it on the spot, Karam, where, Singapore, we were 2 years, and Malaysia, we are in a year and a half, right? And we are expanding to more countries. So that's like a proven success, how sustainability works for a company that has vision and mission to build this responsible affordability that we bring across to merchants and consumers. So from a merchant's end, if you think about it, it is definitely sustainable because we keep building that masses, right? In terms of supporting global, local, right? And then we understand the needs and the differentiation. How do we cater to the marketing support for all of the different segments that we work with? And then if you talk about new traditional merchants, I've probably mentioned this many times, but COVID is probably the spearhead of digitization in the economy right now, right?
The COVID has been the world's best CIO, CTO, period. And CDO,
exactly.
Chief Digital, Chief Technology, Chief Innovation, Chief Technology Officer, all power, man, COVID.
Yeah. If my CTO is listening, I mean, you're doing a great job. I love you, but so COVID actually takes the limelight for this round. So
correct.
Actually pushes a lot of merchants to have to go digital, right? And while they're going digital, like what Eddy and Jane mentioned, they look into different avenues. What more can I get? Bang for a buck. What else do I do? How do I differentiate? How do I ease the problem of consumers? If they understand the flow, like I mentioned, from beginning to end, where are they, right? Where do they fall? If it's the basket, the abandonment, what can they do to do about it, right? And that's where we come in to help. So we provide multiple solutions, and it's definitely sustainable, I will tell you, right? Because there are huge players also in other parts of the market which are continuously growing.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you talk about huge players, I'm wondering if at some point even Grab's going to go into this space, right? They're already into delivering groceries, right? So, it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, once they go for their listing, so they'll have lots of moolah. You guys are hoolah. They'll have lots of moolah to compete with Lula.
It's okay. Hoolah, first lead mover in the region for BNP. I'll think of that.
Yeah. Okay. So look, there's actually interesting question. I love this anonymous, but he says, and I think you saw this at 4:30. He says at 4:35, the question came. He works in the bathroom business where their products are sold by distributors, yes, and to the end consumers. So he's asking, or he or she is asking, how can they go into e-commerce without cannibalizing their distributors' business? Because fantastic, right? Your distributor has been with a long time. They say, hey, bro, you rely on me all these decades. My father did business with your father. And these are real stories, right? And now you are coming young chiku or whatever, and you hear this, they're not top in tech and you're going to go digital. I'm not happy, man, right? So really, right? So how do you address a concern from somebody like him, which is very, very valid? And I don't know who wants to take this, but I think this is a fantastic question.
Yeah, I think I can take this. Speaking from experience, right? We actually do have brands that we work closely with, who went into e-commerce journey, but also worried that they wouldn't be able to support the dealers that sell their same product. But I think in terms of being the brand owner, understanding how to expand the business is very important. So you have dealers all over the country, right? So instead of cannibalizing them, how about supporting them instead? You can sell the product, you still earn the commission. The dealers deliver, you own the e-commerce portal. They don't actually need. I mean, even if let's say they were to be a dealer and sell their stuff on Shopee or Lazada, well, good. I mean, perfect, right? You still earn that commission from them selling. But what you should be thinking about is how can you support them as dealer and then expand their business further. Instead of selling 100 bathroom units, they sell 100. How about together selling 1,000? I think that would be the better way to think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Right?
Yeah, please.
There's a fashion brand very well known. Okay, so they are very specific. So they only want to sell on Lazada. Okay, so they don't have their brands.com, they only sell on Lazada. Their dealers only sell at Shopee. Both are targeting different key segments. But however, in terms of the storage and delivery, in terms of the product, it comes from the same place. So I think that is a good way to think about how you can scale the business bigger. At the end of the day, for the brand owner, you only want to sell more, right? You earn lesser, but it doesn't matter because everyone wins at the end.
Everyone wins, yeah. Okay, interesting. So that's very legit. Look, sometimes the problem with us when we have this panel, because all of us are so steeped in this ecosystem, and you may see a particular question, you say it seems so basic, but then I love this question from Anonymous also, right after, which is at 4:30, which is how do you get it? Because it seems that some people still believe it costs a lot to go into e-commerce, and he or she is saying that their industry is very badly hit, and I feel for the person. And they know that e-commerce is the way to go to complement, right, the traditional trade. So can one of you maybe suggest how somebody can ease into e-commerce with this fear of the cost being a factor, and maybe even technical support? Who maybe wants to take this question?
Okay,
I can give a quick overview, right, of what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Eddy can chip in.
And then Eddy can jump in after it.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, right, I think it's pretty simple. When you started your own business many years ago, let's say, right, there's also a cost involved. And I can tell you for a fact that costs probably a lot more than what you will spend going into e-commerce, right? So take into consideration why resist that change. Probably that's my first question. You didn't hesitate. You were eager to do your traditional business back then. You put in money and said it worked. So now it's a shift of paradigm, right, where you have to go towards digitization and e-commerce. So that amount that you take, to be very frank, right, there is no like 10,000, 100,000, 1 million. What does it take for you? But more importantly, what industry segment are you in, right? And how do you want to then put yourself out there to target the right market? And I'm going to say it, partnering is the best way to go, because imagine speaking to Eddy, right? He'll probably give you a solution from how do you catch from the consumer end. And then speaking to me in terms of easing the frictions when you want to make a payment. And then if you move to Jane, it's like, now I conclude my whole process of how do I get the delivery out, right? Assuming it's a tangible item here that you need to deliver. So for me, it's really understanding the want to, right, versus the cost that you need to, and then looking into the different partners which you can tap on to understand what's the best way moving forward. Then you have your answer.
Very logical, very logical. Okay, great. Eddy, you want to jump in, because then I've got a question from somebody from Cyprus. And don't worry, we know where Cyprus is. Malaysians have a very good geography knowledge of Europe, especially.
I will share that. Okay, so contrary to popular belief, right? It's not actually very expensive to go into e-commerce. Sure, there are costs that need to be invested, but because of the acceleration of e-commerce in the market, especially in Malaysia, right, everything starts to become much more affordable. I don't know whether Jane can agree with this, but I can agree that my wife is a good power user of Lalamove, and when the time passes, right, she realized that things are starting to become more affordable to deliver. Now, one thing to note, right, the way to think about unit economics, especially when you want to spend money, always remember that when you want to spend money, it's always for acquiring new users. It has to be incremental. However, there are certain incentives that you need to provide along the way to change the behavior of your customers. Be it to cross purchase or repurchase. That does not need to come in the form of investment. That could come in the form of like vouchers, discount. I think those incentives work in a different way. It's just a matter of how you want to deliver it through various digital channels. For ShopBack, just a bit of a plug of a ShopBack, right? We work on the cost per sale model. So like if let's say the merchants pay us a commission after a successful sale, meaning that if let's say a user were to cancel a product or return or a fraud, they don't get their cash back. So cost per sale model, or at least after a successful transaction, only you pay commission, is also a very, very good model because there's no risk for the merchants itself. And I think this is a lot of business don't want to go into this cost per sale business. They want to like, oh, you pay me advertisement, you give me everything, I take it. To be honest, right, I think hoolah also do the same thing. After successful purchase, after successful payment, hoolah charge a commission. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason.
Definitely, it's all performance based.
So it is no investment from your end. It is after a successful transaction. I mean, at the end of the day, there will be you need to incentivize certain form of behavior to achieve what you want.
Yep. Okay, fantastic. Good. Thanks a lot. I think it's so important, right, that you are doing performance-based, man. I mean, how many businesses charge you based on performance, right? It's like hiring a consulting company and then saying that, or hiring using an accounting platform, right? And when you do your taxes, you don't get fined or whatever, and they'll only charge you after. See, Karamjit, when you, without using our platform last year, you were submitting late, you had to pay a 500 ringgit fine. Without hours, nothing, right? And you did faster, we'll charge you a commission based on after they approve delivery. I mean, that's quite astounding to me how the business model has moved there. Super difficult to do, I think, but it talks about how all of you feel that you've got your processes right, your the technology right, and the right people also to run this kind of business, which is scary, man, to run. But let's just move to the guy from Cyprus, so which is scary because he's asking how are our local startups, I guess, competing with big players in the market. Of course, in Europe, you've got Amazon there, but really seems to want to know how the local startups are competing with the big players. And of course, I think whether Singapore is headquarters for all ASEAN startups, of course, in Malaysia, we'll say no, never. Right? There are some Malaysia, regional startups based here also, but the main question is about how our locals are competing with the big players. If any of you want to take this. And of course, the China effect is really right. The China has brought down prices all over the world for now.
So I think I'll answer on ShopBack's perspective. I think one thing that we do very well is to hire great talents. Because in order for us to compete with the big players, right, we need to understand the complexity of every single action and how we're going to solve it. It's no longer like you start something and then you sell and then you make money and then wow, you can go global, get funding. No longer that anymore. Even the big companies like Shopee, Lazada, Grab, you realize that the way they hire, right, they started to hire more consultants more than on key roles. Like for example, salespeople are no longer the head of BD. The BD people are no longer like salesmen. They hire consultants to take over the role because it's just starting to become a bit more complex. They need to be able to understand how to scale, how to regionalize certain actions, and making sure that whatever that they do is impactful, meaningful to the user, on the region scale. If you ask me, I think Malaysia has a lot of talents. That's unfortunately a lot of them has moved to down south or some other place. But I think there's an abundance of talents right now. Sure. And with the current environment, the current climate that we're operating, we just get better. We just need to understand what we need to solve.
Yeah. Okay. Just very quickly answering that. So it's kind of interesting that the question comes whether the local players compete. When Lalamove moved to Malaysia or entered Malaysia, actually, we spoke to some of the local players and they said Lalamove's entry is good, because they will raise the bar for existing players to compete, and then they create more awareness and make e-commerce more attractive, because you've got a major player now trying to ease the pain points of e-commerce, right? And logistics used to be a major pain point or a very teething pain point, and it's actually not there anymore. And coincidentally, one of the persons who I quoted in the article just announced last week that they raised a 7-figure funding round. And in a market where you got players like Ninja Van and Lalamove and J&T, right, from Indonesia and China, it is amazing that a local player has found a niche and raised money just last week. So I think it is really like what Eddy says, also all about people and being laser focused on a particular niche and offering excellent customer service, not in terms of your price point. And I think for the person from Cyprus Coffee Broker, if you go to DNA and you just type in Zepto Express, you can see the article and you can be inspired by that. And I know we're coming up to time where I need to wind up, but I think there's one question, Eddy, for you also, which is how do you increase user stickiness on your platform?
I will tell you a secret.
Fantastic.
The secret here is that if you can, okay, so this is proven that this with data. If anyone can get a user to interact or check out or do something, right, or make a purchase 3 times within the first 30 days, the chances of the person being sticking to you is very, very high. So I think the goal here is that if let's say you are able to get a customer to buy something from you 3 times in 30 days, be it whatever tactical reasons, tactical campaigns that you're running, that would increase the chance of them being to come back as a loyal customer.
Nice. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to just, before I ask all of y'all your wrap-up question, there's one question came in from Anonymous, and we'll take that as the last question, which is, and it's for Jane, who I think she's probably thinking, or she's thinking Jane's been too quiet the last few minutes. Will Lalamove consider engaging third-party sales team to acquire more customers? Interesting. So, Jane?
I think we are open to explore, right? Especially in terms of supporting the economy, helping other businesses to grow. I think just now Eddy did mention that it's not costly actually to go digitalized. And I also agree with that, because right now, this day and age, I think the pandemic made us also more. Everyone is trying out. Some of them try online purchase, e-commerce for the first time. Especially the elderlies, like my mom, she never ordered anything. But once she found that, the convenience of it, it also helps people to, in terms of education, know the what's available to them. Yeah, so I think that, we are definitely keen to work with anyone that would like to help the micro SMEs or SMEs for that matter to help the economy.
Fantastic. So look, I'm going my last question to all of you, which is that 30-45-second roundup, right? So, but before that, I think Mohan Menon is asking how you can get in touch with the 3 panelists. So, can the show producer on the back get in touch with Mohan and pass him the emails of the 3 CEOs, who are on the panel today? Thanks for asking that, Mohan. Right? Okay. Now, just quickly also, and I'm going to start with Eddy first, and then go to Jane, and then go to Jason, which is. What is the key takeaway you would like the audience to leave today's webinar with? Starting with you, Eddy.
The key takeaway I hope everyone would be thinking about is what metrics, what complicated metrics that you try to achieve. It's no longer as easy as it sounds. So when you become more deliberate, right, the chances of you being successful at the least amount of cost will be higher. So think about that.
Okay. So, but it requires you to do some serious thinking, like being very strategic and very laser focused on what you want to do. Okay.
Yeah.
Jane?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people start the business without thinking, like, is this scalable? Down the road in 1 year or 2 years, when my first time user increased by 10x, am I still able to use the current infrastructure that I have? And if not, how can I move closer to what we need moving forward? So also in line with Eddy's point, right? You need to be very focused. That way you know your direction, whether you want to scale in the next 6 months or next year, or sometimes like during the pandemic, a lot of businesses have to scale, go online and offline. How do you forget the manpower to run both sides of the business? So when you start a business, I think you always need to think, well, how scalable is this? Yeah.
Okay, great. So Jason, you're back also. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your email with everyone. It's really cool of you.
No problem.
Why don't you now take this and then the closing stage for providing for Prem to come in after you answer this, your key takeaway.
Definitely. I think you have not gone digital, you should. And if you have, right, to grow, my advice is really to look into the right partners, right? I think we are all here together as a panelist, and we have different strengths and leverages that you can actually adopt in your business. So more importantly, really understand where your business is now if you're digital. What are the areas that you really need to scale and grow, right? I love the word scale, like what Jane mentioned. And think about how can you really get the most out of it. And when we scale and you want the business to really grow, sometimes you leverage on other people's strength, right? Versus you doing it on yourself. It's definitely a much better experience where you have expertise in different areas. Let the experts take care of the rest. So that's my takeaway.
Okay, fantastic, great. And with that, you guys are the experts, but we'll let the content expert come in, Prem, and do his wrap up for the show. And thank you all for all your questions. We really, really appreciate it. Fantastic.
Hi, thanks. Thanks our panelists. That was really a great session. I learned so much. I think one of the key word that was mentioned was, creating an experience which is frictionless, right? People are so used to buying stuff online and find it, very convenient. So if you try to do everything yourself, then you often create too much of friction and people are really not going to buy. So I think, whether it's discovery through ShopBack, fulfillment through Lalamove, or payment options to hoolah, it's really about working with all these parties and technologies available to make your e-commerce shop or your e-commerce effort successful. I think that's really great. I'm glad that so many companies like this in Malaysia really help Malaysians themselves to come and start selling online, especially during this pandemic period. I really enjoyed that. Thanks for answering all our questions from our audience. And of course, a big thanks to Karamjit for keeping it fun and enjoyable and asking all the tough questions. Okay, so we'll wrap up now for Top in Tech. Thank you all again to our panelists. Thank you to our audience, and see you in the next episode of Top in Tech. Thanks, everybody.
More episodes coming up. Cool ones. Yep.
See you. Thank you.
Hoolah. What is hoolah? Hoolah is a new payment partner that can help you reach new customers, drive more conversion, increase basket size, and improve customer loyalty both online and in store. Your customers can now shop more confidently by making purchases in 3 easy installments, which are totally interest-free. She is thinking about buying this handbag, which can be an expensive one-off purchase. But with hoolah, she only needs to pay 1/3 of the order amount up front and takes it back home. The hesitation is gone. What about customers who don't have credit cards or with low credit limits? They can use their debit cards and pay with hoolah instead. With more flexible payment options, you can reach more potential customers. It's super easy to get started. You can use our hoolah app for in-store payments or get our APIs for direct integration. Still have worries? Our dedicated hoolah account manager will help you get everything all set, advise you on how to market to hoolah customers, and help your business grow. Ready to get set up with hoolah? Contact us now.
In this era of disruption, digital is a reality of our life. You got to read more.
The telehealth services, so for the patients to be connected to doctors, Kementerian Kesihatan, for the doctors to then consult and offer a referral for the patient to perform a test if required.
So if you had that level of trust already with your team members, then it's easier for you to say, okay, now that I can't see you on a daily basis, how do we then operate?
These are the actual challenges of adopting cloud. It's not about the trust anymore. It's about our infrastructure, our connectivity. Are they stable and fast enough to support the business and also the consumers to continue to adopt more cloud services?
Talented individuals with in-demand skill in any sector now realize that they can live, they choose and work where they're qualified. And talent is the new global currency.